Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Find Your Formula Friday. My name is Stacy Brayuka. I am known as the Technology Therapist and Squirrel Wrangler, and I am the founder of the Find Your Formula coaching programs. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about today, just so you find out a little bit more about it. While I'm getting geared up here, I'm going to do some sharing so that I can get more people over here to hang out with us, which is always a good thing to do. If you are going live. I almost wish I was able to do this before I hit the live button so that then it was ready to go, and I know there's a way to do that, to schedule what I'm doing. I just hadn't done it today, and so that's just the way it's going to be at the moment. So welcome, Eugene and JT. And my name is Stacy Brayuka. I am the Technology Therapist and Squirrel Wrangler, the founder of the Find Your Formula coaching programs. So Find Your Formula coaching, Find Your Formula. Let's just talk about the formula itself. So this formula is a formula that I have created using the background, my combined backgrounds of having been a therapist for 25 plus years. I've been in public health for 15 plus years, and I have been a geek girl for well over 40 years now. Actually, we probably could call that getting closer to 45 since I celebrated another trip around the sun yesterday. And I bring those together to create this formula. And the formula has 9 different arenas in it. And I think that's going to be a good place to start today for Find Your Formula Friday, so our theme for today. And let me I'm going to find myself a graphic to use here so that I can remember all the pieces that I want to make sure and tell you guys about. So one of the things that has come about predominantly since we have all experienced the last couple of years in a different way, in needing to be with our loved ones differently, we've realized that spending time with each other is really important. And we've realized that stress is kicking our butt, to be honest. Even more than we had realized or talked about before. So we're all looking for life balance. Hopefully you guys would agree with me, is we're all kind of looking for that balance of, our runs on the hamster wheel, if you will. Sometimes we're running way too much on that hamster wheel and we're not doing enough with our family. And sometimes we're doing more with our family and work's suffering. The balance goes so many different directions. And that's why the name of the program is actually Find Your Formula, as opposed to this is the formula, because everyone's formula is different. Each of us as humans is different. So the formula really starts with what I call the 4 silent S's. And if you go and listen to my podcast, I go into a little more detail on those 4 silent S's. But I'm going to go through them quickly right now. And they are lack of sleep, lack of self-care, increased stress, and increased societal stigma. Now, 2 of those, increased stress and increased societal stigma, are things that are somewhat outside of our, what I'm going to call your locus of control, fancy therapy word for you can't do as much about them. Sleep and self-care, however, you can do things about. You can make changes in your daily habits. You can make changes in your sleeping atmosphere. You can make changes in your self-care routine. If you listened yesterday, it was Take Time Thursday, and I talked about self-care. So and talked about some more of the deep pieces about self-care. If you didn't hear that one and you're here on Wisdom, just, pop over to my profile. You can hear yesterday's talk, which was for Take Time Thursday. And if you're listening to the podcast, you can also do the same thing. But self-care and sleep, we can do something about. Increased stress and increased societal stigma, we can't always do things about. We can do some things about them, but we can't always do 1,000%. That's not all totally within our control because, we are part of an entire world with lots of other people on this same blue ball running through space. So we can't do everything about the societal stigmas. And through the next couple weeks, I'm going to be going even deeper into each pieces of the formula here. So I'm just doing an overview. But those are the 4 things that are underneath all of our health problems today. I call them the 4 silent S's. They were under our health problems prior to COVID. And you know what? They're not going away, folks. Some of them have gotten worse. Some have maybe gotten better by virtue of the fact that we're actually talking a little bit more about them. People may be talking a little bit differently about stress now than they did 3 years ago. Or for that matter, actually 2 years ago. 2 years ago right now, we were sitting in a different way. We were talking about things different. So we talked about stress different. It was a taboo subject. We didn't talk about stress and self-care. Oh my gosh. Let's just not talk about that, especially if you live on the North American continent. And if you are in the United States, we're so we are still even fixated on being productive, and our work ethic and our 40 plus 500 hour work week. And, just do, go, that we weren't talking about stress and we weren't talking about self-care by any means. Now maybe we are. So those are the 4 silent S's that are underneath our healthcare problems. Now, to mitigate those, we move to the top of the line on the Find Your Formula program, which if you want to look more about Find Your Formula, look for Technology Therapist, look for me in the App Store, and you will find information about information and a graphic actually about the formula. So we move up to the top line, which we talk about self-care and sleep again in the top, but this time it's multiplied in because this time when we're talking about it as making changes to it and getting better sleep and self-care as something we can do to mitigate the impacts of the negative. So in that, we're talking of things like having the temperature in your house at 66 to 68 degrees, I believe is the optimum temperature. They talk about sleeping in a dark, quiet room, weighted blankets for those who have anxiety disorders are just phenomenal objects. I even recently actually got a weighted face mask that goes over my eyes, and oh my gosh, it's surprising how just one little thing like that can help you relax more and help you sleep better. Then we go to the middle of the formula, which is it encompasses quite a few things. I call it MAD focus skills. And by MAD focus skills, what I mean is the MAD stands for mindset, automation, and delegation. And then we have focus and productivity skills and hacks. So mindset is, how we perceive and how we change our perception of the world by, we can use various techniques to change our perceptions and to basically reprogram our own brain. And I really want you to actually stop and think about that little piece just for a minute. Think about the fact that the thing that you have between your ears can actually teach itself something new. Now, I was going to say what computer can do that, but yes, we are getting, we're getting into the age where technology is becoming more capable of learning, but frankly, it still only learns what we tell it to learn and how we tell it to learn it. So it's still not sentient. It's not a sentient being in and of itself where it is the thing learning. Our animals can learn. They can teach themselves something new. My personal belief system says that plants, animals, self, we can all, are all thinking and feeling in a variety of ways. But, setting that aside, the fact that the thing we carry between our ears every single day, we can look at something and go, ooh, that's interesting. I want to learn about that. Just the fact that we can do that, and that then we can seek additional information to put in our heads, seek different ways of being, doing, learning, knowing, to change how we perceive things and how we do things, just boggles my mind when you stop and think about it. To me, it's one of those things similar to when you think about being what a grain of sand is comparative to the entire universe. Just the total smallness and how a grain of sand really, if you've ever seen the photos where people really get macro down into that little pile of sand, and it ends up being all these different little totally intricate creatures and objects and things by itself, how intricate that is at that teeny, 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 tiny level, and then how vast everything else is. I think it was fairly poignant, actually, that William Shatner, when he came back from his recent trip above the, I can't remember what line they call it in the atmosphere, but when he came back from that, he was talking about just that line being so poignant of a thin, teeny tiny line between life and death. And the light that we see here. So what we see as sunlight and life, and that then you cross that threshold and it's boom, the blackness of space and the vastness of it. I think that he really kind of said it all in that moment. And I'm quite sure anyone who's ever been through that threshold and seen that has got to have probably had that experience in one way or another, in their way. But kind of coming back to the formula, let's look at the next piece, which is automation. So we've got MAD focus, which is mindset, automation, delegation, and focus. Automation, in this case, is automation equaling technology. It's not only things like, automated situations in technology where you can say, hey, if I get an email that says this, put it in the spam section and mark it red and delete it. That's a form of an automation. But also our automated behaviors in the day. So we can actually teach ourselves to automate our own behaviors. And it's that kind of automation as well, plus our automation interaction between ourselves and the devices. So automation to me encompasses all of those pieces. Then delegation, each of us has, and I heard this described one day as each of us has something that we are basically ahead of 97% of the population, that we're ahead of them. And each of us has things that we are not. And I think I might be getting that story backwards in the way it was described. So please forgive me if I'm misquoting that. But it's the idea that we all have things that we are absolutely brilliant at that other people around us, many people in our circles, etc., don't have. And in fact, to be a speaker, you really need to be just a little bit ahead of any of your students because you still always know more that way. So we have these things that we're really, really good at and we're ahead of people at, but we also have a bunch of other stuff that we are absolutely not good at, don't like, don't want to do, don't have time to do. So, for example, I could do my own accounting, but oh my God, I absolutely abhor it. It's just not my thing. So I have put things in place I know that that's something that I cannot do myself. Or should I say, I choose not to do it. I just absolutely do not want to do it. A home type example for that could be let's say you really love doing laundry and folding laundry, and your spouse loves doing dishes. And you absolutely hate doing dishes. They hate folding laundry. Boom, boom. You've both delegated and you've both won. So delegation is getting something off of your plate that you either don't know how to do, don't want to do, can't do, or just absolutely don't have time to do. Sometimes it's even just you could do it. I mean, I could build websites all day long. I don't always have time to do that. So I pass that off to my colleague and a team that we created together. Co-created, I guess. So that's delegation. And then focus and productivity skills. If you start looking up focus and productivity hacks on the internet, there are tons and tons and tons of them. Some of them work for some people, some work for other people. Everybody has their own set of things that really works well for them. Then let's get to the last chunk of the formula, which is your life's passion. So your life's passion, to me, is your own personal combination of magic tricks. The thing that lights you up in the morning, the thing you get out of bed for, the thing you're just makes you light up. It also can be, if you're really lucky, and I only know this because I've only recently discovered this really lucky part myself, is you can take things that don't really go together. Kind of like if you put oil and vinegar aren't really supposed to go together, right? They don't mix together well. Unless if you put oil and vinegar together and you shake the crap out of it, it has at least some type of a mix, even though it doesn't mix, quote unquote, like sugar and water would. You know, sugar is going to melt into the water, but oil and vinegar are still going to stay separate, but they're going to be able to be together. And you pour that over a salad and you've got a killer salad dressing, right? So if you have a magic trick that you mix and shake and mix and mix and mix, and you get the mix just right, you pour it over the rest of your formula, you've got a killer. Basically, your formula becomes the salad, and your salad dressing becomes the magic stuff that makes that salad just go over the top. Personally, I took two things that didn't go together, which was social work and public health, as though they kind of go together. So I lump them together. So I've got, two different kinds of vegetables, or my two different kinds of olive oil, if you will. And then my thing that doesn't go with it is being a geek girl. Those two things together don't really go together. Many people in social services are terrified of technology. Many people who are in the geek world are terrified of speaking human. I actually love how they interact together, and I have built the things I teach people based on that combination. That combination is what makes me the technology therapist. It's what makes it's what built the formula itself. And it's what makes me absolutely ecstatic when I get up in the morning is, what am I going to help someone with today that is within that realm? Now, you heard me clearly, hopefully say, I don't get up in the morning and say, oh my gosh, who can I help with their accounting? Because I'm like, absolutely not. if somebody comes to me and asks for accounting, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to refer them to the same accounting program I have, or one of my colleagues who does that, because that lights them up. And so you have to find that magic spot for yourself. And I call that your life's passion. And that's where we're all trying to live, is within our life's passion in a balanced life. And so I hope that the formula itself, to describe it in mathematical terms, and I'm going to do my best here because this is the first time I've described it audio only without a visual to share with people. If you picture a mathematical formula that is a huge division problem, and it kind of reminds you of, I'm trying to think of the type of quadratic equations. So if you ever did quadratic equations in algebra, and I loved algebra, so that's probably part of how this came out this way. It looks like a quadratic equation that equals the last symbol. This is all symbols. The last symbol is a right and left brain. So it's your right side of your brain being logical and the left side being, or the right side being creative and the left side being logical. And you're talking about your right and left brain. So we all want to get, and to me, that symbolizes the balance. It also symbolizes the dualities of life. Okay, let me see if I can describe this thing mathematically. You have a parentheses, then you have life's passion plus mad focus skills, and then another parentheses. And then you multiply all of that times sleep and self-care, which is what I call S squared. So you take your sleep and self-care, and that's S squared. And that is all divided by the next line, which is S squared minus, and then another parentheses, and you have stress, increased stress plus societal stigma, and then another parentheses. So your increased stress and societal stigma are added together. You delete that from the amount of sleep and self-care you have. Then you go up to the top of the line and you have the amount of sleep and self-care you have again, multiplied by your life's passion and mad focus skills, added together. So if you'd like to see the visual representation of this, I would absolutely love it to have people download my app. Look up Technology Therapist in the App Store. I'm looking for people to download it and to give me feedback. Send me messages in the app, or let me know what you think. I want to improve it. I want to add more information in there. You can actually get to my podcast in there, as well as previous speaking engagements. There are articles in there about the 9 arenas in our formula, as well as links to some other really cool resources and just things. I'm trying to collect everything in there for people to be able to create their life formula, and with the ultimate thing of being able to live a more balanced life and enjoy spending time with people we love. My overall goal is everybody should be spending time for one, technology should not produce anxiety. It should actually relieve anxiety. And that the pieces of the formula should not produce anxiety. They should all, or stress, or poor health. The formula should actually help you feel better, enjoy your life more, and just have things more balanced. So again, my name is Stacy Brayuka. I am known as the Technology Therapist and Squirrel Wrangler. I will get into even more of those things as we go. Monday will be Mindset Monday again. Then we'll have Technology Tuesday, which will either be here on Wisdom, or it's more likely that it is going to actually be broadcast into my Facebook group, which is also called Technology Therapist. And it's going to be 2 hours worth of open office hours. So you'd be able to bring your one thing, either your one technology issue or one struggle you're having within the formula. And we're going to do some deep dive into it that day, and then, see what things we can come up with to help you out. Wednesdays are If Not Now Wednesday. Then Thursday is Take Time Thursday. And today is the first Find Your Formula Friday. I'm probably going to pick each area of the formula and go do deep dives with them every week. Unless somebody also wants to join me then, and then we may talk through their formula. I really appreciate the 45 people that have joined into this particular talk here on wisdom. If you're listening on my podcast, this talk has been recorded on a really cool new app called Wisdom. It brings together people to learn about, really, I think we're learning about each other, listening to each other, having you can use the information you do as a podcast, or invite people to your stage to talk about things, and then have some great one-on-one conversations with an audience of however number of people who end up in your audience. And it's just a really cool app. If you're watching this, or if you're listening to this in my podcast, you will see a link to the app so that you can come over and join us on Wisdom. And those of you who are listening in Wisdom, and everyone, actually, I would love as many people who would like to look up Technology Therapist in the App Store and download the app. And you can message me there. You can set up an appointment to chat with me. You can find out more about Find Your Formula. And I just would love to get to know everybody a little bit more. I want to know what you do for a living as well. I have quite a few joint venture partners, and I love connecting people. So if that speaks to you, please reach out to me because I would love to have a chat about what you do and see how we can serve and support each other. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you again on Monday. Thanks a lot.